If you are training using a science-based approach, you are probably not reaching your true potential. The fitness industry is at war as we speak. We are talking about the biggest debate in fitness history, the science-based training and the hardcore meathead mindset. The truth is, and both sides are right. We basically have two extremes. On the one side, you got the optimal lifters. Everything has to be perfect. Every set, every rep, every exercise, every angle, every gram of protein, include every new study. They go strictly by the book, and in general, they are very theory-driven. They are constantly chasing the most optimal way to train, and usually they make things unnecessarily complicated. On the other side, we have the meatheads, the exact opposite. They believe that science is for pussies. They say things like, just lift heavy, bro. Feel the pump. And that's all that matters. And both sides have their issues. Science is our way of understanding the world. What and how things really work, what the true is and what's not. And now that it's applied to training and fitness, it has helped us understand the basics. Things like how the body works, how we build muscle, progressive overload, caloric balance, training volume and intensity, all these things. These things are not opinions anymore, they are the foundations of training, and they are the results of many studies done over the years confirming these facts. And this should be the baseline for everyone, and you cannot really ignore this even with a purely experience approach. Science has to dig deeper because that's what science does, find better answers, analyze systems up to the last detail, but there is a problem with that. The problem is that people tend to dive deeper and deeper into every detail to find a hidden advantage, or in my opinion, they are using science-based as a form of cope. What I mean by that is that some people don't want to accept that progress takes years and years of hard work and consistency, gains slow down over time, or that they may not have as good as genetics as they think, or they may not have as good as genetics as other people. They obsess over these things that might give them the 1% improvement, often while ignoring 99% of what really matters. And the reality is that most of these people are not that advanced and they don't need to address as much detail and they just need to do the basics better. In my opinion, research and science have their limits. We are trying to measure or predict long-term progress by short-term results of short studies, and this also makes it extremely difficult to predict results on elite athletes or advanced athletes that have been in this game for so long. And that is where the 1% improvement matter, because if you are at the top and everyone is at around the same level, every percentage matters to be able for you to win. Also, the study groups, the people that are chosen to participate in these studies vary a lot because every person is different and studies have their limited control over real life variables. And what I want to say by this is that people tend to fall in this trap of you try something new for 2 weeks, it doesn't work. Then you try something new again for 2 weeks, it doesn't work. A new study comes out and you might just scrap everything you have known and try that approach. Let's forget everything that works because this is the one that's gonna take me to the next level. You basically go where the wind blows and you have no real foundation and a baseline, no consistency, and this is the worst thing you can do. Practice blindly following studies can sometimes make you miss a point, which is training consistently, pushing yourself, eating right, recovering, pay attention to your stress levels, and improving your performance and physique over time. So obsessing over every little detail makes you miss the point. Now let's talk about the other side, the meatheads or the gym bros. You hear them often say science is useless, just train hard. And many of them that say these things actually get great results. But why? A lot of them have above average or elite genetics, they take steroids, or both. And because of that, they probably never had to dig deep. They never had to ask the real questions. For example, why does this work? How can I improve this and get better? They just keep growing because they have ungodly genetics or they take more steroids to compensate for that fact. They often don't need this science-based approach because they don't have to. They just can get better and better just like that. But if you rely only on experience without understanding, you are just shooting in the dark with the hope of hitting something. And that might sometimes be dangerous because sometimes you might not be even training only yourself. You might be training others and you can put someone in danger if you are doing things incorrectly and in a dangerous way. So, who is right in all this? Well, science is not a religion, And it's not something where if a study said it, it must be true forever. Science changes all the time and science contradicts itself. New findings come out and basically that's how we have progress. Think of science as something that gives you a new path to follow if things are not working, and it basically tells you this is probably a good place to start. You might go down that path, but you might find a wall and then you might have to turn back. But it does not replace real world experience. At the same time, experience without structure is only chaos. You cannot reproduce results because you don't have a structured method. You have no theory to back up your decisions, and you are basically just doing whatever you feel like doing. If you have coached people or you have coached yourself seriously, you are basically something of a scientist yourself. You have your own case studies, you have your own samples of athletes. You try some stuff, you see the results, and then you adjust accordingly. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, what works, what doesn't work, what works better for you and your methods and your training style, and that has incredible value. Now, think about this. If a new study comes out tomorrow, are you going to throw everything you have known away because of something that is not really even proven? That would be stupid and it would be risky to do so, because your results are right in front of you. If you have heard of the Pareto principle, it says that 80% of the results come from the 20% of the work. And in my opinion, most of the things that we need to discover to be able to reach the peak or very close to the peak has already been figured out. I believe we are in the end game of fitness, even though exercise science is a relatively new area. Train hard, progress over time, try to push yourself a little bit more, eat properly, pay attention to your recovery. Everything else, small details in coaching and programming differ from coach to coach, which through their own case studies might find a little bit of an edge into their programs. Here is another thing that people do not want to hear. Life is complicated. Situations and results vary. A lot of variables play together, like luck, chance, work together to create a unique result. Different genetics, different lifestyles, different paths through life, different recoveries, different mindsets, different psychologies, different characters. The course that someone went through life has made them what they are physically and mentally. The human body is way too complex and a lot of systems work together to be able to cherry pick a small detail with the hope that it will bring massive results. So instead of having this conflict, I'm that strong, I have this great physique, I'm Mr. Olympia, so you have to listen to me. Or on the other side, I read studies all day and the theory says that and that. We need a combination of both. You need to build your base on the fundamentals, the things that have been proven, the facts. You have to train consistently, hard work, and then carefully experiment from here and there, maybe try something new, track it, see if it works, and don't try a million things at once, because if you try to go in every direction, you will go nowhere, or you might start running in circles and come back where you have started. So pick a direction, try it. If it doesn't work, come back, try another direction. Also, stop chasing optimal because it's not sustainable and nothing in this life is optimal. And optimal means nothing if you can't stick to it, if it's not realistic, especially if you're not an elite athlete, where the 1% matters. Most people are not even at that level to be worrying about the 1% of details. That level of paying attention to every small percentage belongs to a very small number of people, and most people are probably not even into that group. And most of these people probably got there because of their insane genetics or other reasons like enhancements. The longer you train, the more stones you'll have to turn, and the more details will have to matter. Because if you remember, 80% of the results comes from 20% of the work, and for that last 20%, you need to put in 80% of the work into the details. So in the beginning, most of these details are irrelevant, and every once in a while, you'll see someone with insane genetics and preferable conditions or circumstances in their life that has brought them to the insane level that you see once every 100 years and 1 in a billion athlete. But these are not the standards and these are exceptions. For the rest of us, you cannot avoid hard work, you cannot avoid consistency, and no amount of science will replace hard work, good technique, and trying to push yourself a little bit more and trying to improve a little bit more. No amount of optimization can replace consistency. And remember that theories are just theories, and until they have been battle tested through experience, through real life scenarios and real life examples, then they will mean something. So stick to the proven basics and use new science as a suggestion. Leave a little room for experimentation, for trying something new, because that's where the magic happens. And remember that things exist before they are proven or found. On the other hand, don't get so rooted in your ways and in your experience because they are safe or because they work. And at least try to be open-minded and try something new every once in a while, and try to improve yourself constantly. Maybe try to find something that can get better and make it better. Combine both science and experience because both need each other. Build something stable and then improve it. And at the end of the day, we just go to the gym to improve ourselves, to feel better, to push our limits, to forget about our problems and have fun. And most importantly, enjoy this process. Don't forget that. Happiness is in the pursuit and not the results. In my opinion, sports science and science-based approaches have been over-glorified the last few years, and most of the big discoveries we need are already here. Now we are just digging into the smaller details, and I'm not even sure how much they matter in real life. So, don't overanalyze everything, don't chase every new trend, don't hide behind science because it's safe. Train hard, have good technique, try to improve yourself a little bit, 1 rep more, 1 kilo more, pay attention to your recovery, stay consistent, track your progress and results, and learn from it, and all this will take you far. And as a final note, always remember, I don't want to be negative, but at the end of the day, steroids and insane genetics will win the game. But that doesn't change the fact that you have to keep trying to get better. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe because it helps our channel grow, and check out any of these videos.